Situated between two lakes, Ruotsalainen and Konnevesi, we are in Heinola, Finland for round 4 of the Maxis FIM Enduro World Championship. Since the last round in Greece, Ivan Givantes has undergone surgery on his damaged ankle and is in playful mood as he seeks to consolidate his championship lead in the Enduro 3 class. Also under the knife in recent weeks is Alex Salvini. The Enduro 2 rider broke his collarbone in round 3, but remarkably, the Italian is raring to go again this weekend.
4 weeks after the collarbone injury in Greece, obviously I'm not 100% fit, but anyway, I'm happy to be here, at least to be in the game. Everything went well, the surgery went perfect, and I think that I can be a little bit more fit and more comfortable on the bike.
Antoine Mayo leads Enduro 2, but he's also been hurt, this time in the build-up to the event.
Yeah, we come Monday for testing a little bit in Finland, and going bad. I crashed and I broke the finger, the bones. So we tried everything for ride, because we are leading the championship. We don't have any solution. So sure, it will be hard weekend for me, but I try to give my best and try to get the best result I can.
We're at the halfway stage in the campaign. And the Grand Prix of Finland certainly got off to a bang as Enduro 1 competitor Jeremy Tarou found out. The Flying Frenchman suffering a huge crash when the swing arm broke on impact during the extreme test. Battered and bruised, but seemingly okay, which is more than can be said for his machine. No such concerns for Anthony Boissiere. The Frenchman guiding the Sherco to a 4th place finish on day 1. Cristobal Guerrero has been a solid performer in this year's championship. The Spaniard began the Grand Prix second in the overall standings and consolidated that position by ending the day in 3rd position on the leaderboard. Christophe Namatan began the season with 5 straight wins, but that run came to a halt in the last round in Greece. On that occasion, he finished runner-up to Iro Remez, and this first day was to be a repeat of that scenario. The Frenchman led over the first 3 tests, but then the fight between 2 of the top riders in Enduro 1 began. Remez on the TM would win the next 2 tests, and it was between these two all the way to the end. The Finn would win 3 of the day's tests compared to Namatan's 8. But a crash for Namatan on the final Enduro test handed victory to Remez, his 2nd in a row. This is how the day ends. Namatan conceding 19 seconds on the final test, which proved crucial as Remez ends the day 20 seconds ahead.
Yeah, today was quite good for me. I don't make nothing special mistake or something like that. So I just riding and try to concentrate to every test good. And today was good day for me.
With 4 men dominating the Enduro 2 class, the battle from 5th place downwards in the championship has taken on something of a best-of-the-rest mantle. Oriol Mena and this man, Lorenzo Santolino, are separated by a single point coming into this round. One of the main quartet of riders in E2 is Johnny Aubert, but his hopes of victory took a dive when he suffered this slip. The Frenchman's been very consistent from the word go this season, but the beta rider is still waiting to take the top step of the podium. Just the 1 test win for Aubert on day 1, but some strong times would give him 3rd place on the podium. It had been a race against time for Alex Salvini to get as fit as possible for this event. Despite breaking his collarbone less than a month before, the Italian looked strong throughout. Clearly not quite 100% fit, Salvini pushed as hard as he possibly could, and even though he didn't top any of the tests, he was consistent throughout and finished in second position. Pelle Rene began the Grand Prix trailing Antoine Mayo by 8 points in the overall standings. Husqvarna rider has finished on the podium of every Grand Prix so far this season, and that run continued on the opening day in Finland. The Frenchman in superb form, and he would go on to record his third victory of the campaign. Aubert just edging out Santolino for third place by 1/10 of a second, with Salvini almost a minute behind the eventual winner, Pelle Rene.
Yeah, that was really good. I take the lead yesterday at the super test, and I was leading all day. Yeah, I like this condition, this track, and I hope make same tomorrow.
But what about Antoine Mayo? Well, a huge crash on Enduro Test 3 left the champion with 4 broken ribs, 2 broken fingers, a broken wrist, another fracture on his thumb, and a hospital bed for the foreseeable future. Luis Correa has been close to a podium finish in Enduro 3 on a couple of occasions this season. This time he recorded yet another 5th place finish. Matthias Bellino is lying 3rd in the Enduro 3 Championship standings. The Frenchman's had a mixed season so far. He started day 1 down in 13th, but a couple of test wins propelled him up through the order, and he would finish in 4th place. Matti Saistola carried local hopes of success in E3, and he didn't disappoint even though he crashed very early on in Test 2, but pushed hard to regain positions. A win in the second cross test was the highlight of a day in which the Sherco rider would end up on the 3rd step of the podium. Plenty of question marks at the start of the day regarding how well Ivan Cervantes would perform in Finland following his recent ankle surgery. Two test victories, one in Extreme and one in Enduro, would put the series leader into 2nd place overall. A very good performance considering the situation. Matthew Phillips took his first win at this level in the previous Grand Prix in Greece, and so he came to Finland brimming with confidence. The Australian, last year's junior world champion, has certainly found his feet in this class. He looks comfortable with his speed, and mistakes were few and far between as he racked up test win after test win. And so it would be that Phillips would go on to record his 2nd successive victory of the campaign. This is how Enduro 3 finishes, with just half a minute covering the top 3, and a delighted Matthew Phillips on the top step following a tough day of racing.
Yeah, I wanted to win today, and I really had to ride, at the limit to win. And I think today you had to be really strong, physically and mentally. Mio, he had a really big crash. Enduro test was really difficult. You had to be really strong, and with the thumb, I think it's cost him a big crash. And fingers crossed for him, he's okay. And we'll fight on tomorrow and try and take some points for the series.
That wraps up day 1 of the Grand Prix of Finland. Coming next, it's the story of day 2. This is the Maxxis FIM Enduro World Championship, and we're all set for day 2 of the Grand Prix of Finland. Inola is also the setting for round 2 of the Women's Championship. Let's hear from some of the riders we expect to do well this weekend.
What differs for me, enduro, to any other discipline of motorcycling is the challenge. You never know really what's out there. So I think, yeah, just getting from start to finish is what is the best thing for me.
Yes, the races are very long and tough, so we need to be ready for the races. And yes, I train a lot of hours on the bike, and then also some gym and cycling and other sports to be ready.
You're always pushing your limits, and every day you ride is a different adventure, a different place, and you know, without riding I probably wouldn't have travelled out of Australia myself, and basically I've seen a big part of the world that I really enjoy and love to explore. It's not something I ever expected to do, but I'm really pleased I'm here and I really enjoy what I'm doing, and the team's great, so I can't complain really.
Just ride, I think is the only thing you can do. And probably for me, mentally is my biggest struggle. So just do all the thinking before I get on the bike, and then once I'm on, just what's coming in front of me, nothing else.
I can do this stuff. I train this stuff at home, and you just need to remind yourself what you can do and what you're capable of, and not think about the other girls so much, and basically you race your own race. So yeah, that's the best physical and mental preparation you can give yourself. I'd like to just ride my bike all the time, and I think that's probably the best training, just getting out on your bike, doing some proper training where like you're not just messing around, you're challenging yourself, doing test times.
I want to take a lot of points if I can. Usually the goal is to win, but I don't know if I can win here, but I will try.
And try is what Laia Sanz certainly did. The defending world champion coming out on top on both days.
At the end of the race, I feel a little bit better, and I could push the last lap especially, and I'm happy because I was fighting until the end, and for this I take a win.
That's 4 wins out of 4 for Laia Sanz. And she's in a commanding position at the top of the championship standings, with Jane Daniels and Jessica Gardner her nearest rivals. In the Youth Cup, the Grand Prix belonged to Sweden's Albin Elofsson.
I've been fighting against the juniors also in the Enduro test, and I feel really good in this terrain, and I really like it, so I'm happy.
The top set of the podium in Finland belonged to the Swede. But it's still Davide Sareka who holds the #1 position in the standings. Danny McCanny was back to fitness and back to winning ways as he triumphed on both days in the Junior Championship.
He was also playing the last test, and he done a real good time, beat me to be fair, but the 0.2 that counts, and I come away with a win, so 2 wins here, it's absolutely perfect.
McCanny extending his overall lead over Redondi. Having suffered this big crash on the previous day in Enduro 1, it was great to see Jeremy Theroux running again on day 2.
Yeah, I feel okay. Just a little bit to the face. Then it's not so bad. So, I don't ride yesterday. I ride two laps. So I hope to be okay today. But I try and I do the best. We will see. Yeah, the bike is okay now. I don't know the problem. It's the wheel, but. It's like that, it's a mechanic sport, so we will see. I'm okay, full gas.
And it was full gas from the Frenchman as he powered his way to 4th place. The Sherco rider missing out on a podium position by just 3 seconds to Spain's Cristobal Herrero on the KTM. As expected, plenty of support for Iro Ramez as he set about searching for his 3rd successive win. But it wasn't to be, despite a scorching start in which he won 3 of the first 4 tests. Christophe Nabatan was looking to getting back to winning ways. His form improved as the day went on, and he went on to win the last 7 tests of the day. The Frenchman on the KTM winding up day 2 with almost 3/4 of a minute to spare over Ramez. Could this be the result which sees the Enduro 1 title going the way of Christophe Namatan? However, he still feels there is room for improvement.
I make 2 crashes today, so I need to understand again why I make so much mistake. So no, but I'm happy. For championship is good, so I'm happy.
He should be happy as he has a commanding lead at the top of the standings, while Remez closes back in on Herrero, just a point between them at this stage. With Antoine Mayo sidelined through injury, it was an opportunity for the top guys to score big points in Enduro 2. Pelle Rene was steady through the opening part of the day. The Husqvarna man unable to win any of the morning's tests. This time it was Johnny Aubert's time to shine. Quickest in 4 of the 6 tests, he went into service in first position on the leaderboard and brimming with confidence.
I'm okay. I make good first lap, so I'm leading now, but a very tough race, so we will see what happens after. But for this moment I feel good, and I hope to continue all the day like this.
True to form, Spain's Jonathan Barragan was much stronger on day 2 and even managed to take his first test victory. This time he would settle for a 5th place finish overall. Oriol Mena kept the Beta Factory bike steady through the Finnish forests and was rewarded with 4th place by the end of day 2. Alex Salvini may still not be quite fully fit, but he earned a 3rd place finish, something he could only have dreamt about a few weeks ago. Johnny Aubert looked all set to take his first win of this campaign. Having taken the lead on the 2nd test, he was still in control of the number 1 position going into the last extreme. That is when everything changed. Aubert hitting a rock which cost him not only around 20 seconds, but also the lead of the race. This is Pelle Rene on the Enduro test, which was set in forest and was at times slow and rocky. The cross test was on sand, while the extreme test was half natural in the forest and half artificial on a motocross type track. Rene had held 2nd behind Aubert until the Beta riders' crash on the penultimate test, which allowed the Husqvarna to steal in for the win. Aubert close, but ultimately just missing out on the number 1 spot. That honour going to Pelle Rene for the 4th time in this campaign.
It was a big fight all the day with Johnny. He was riding really good the 2 first lap, and I make some mistake. And yeah, he was really fast, but in the 2 last lap I push maximum, and I come back. He make a mistake in the last extreme, and yeah, after I win, so it's perfect.
Even more perfect for Rene is the picture regarding the championship standings, where he now has a strong lead in what is arguably the toughest category. Ivan Givantes, perhaps encouraged by his performance 24 hours earlier, was again looking strong despite his injury concerns. Setting the early pace though was his KTM teammate Matthew Phillips.
Yeah, good. First lap's done and dusted now, and yeah, leading the class by 10 seconds to Matty Seestuhler and then Ivan, my teammate. So once again, a good battle with us 3 guys, and yeah, I feel good today. Set a good solid first lap, and I didn't push too much, not over the limit. So just trying to save some energy for the later in the race when I think I'll need it. So yeah, so far so good, and we'll keep pushing.
Another steady performance by Luis Correa, and his reward on day 2 was a 5th place finish for the Portuguese Peter Factory rider. Matti Saistola started the day brightly, but his hopes of another podium were dented when he crashed on the second cross test. The Sherco rider would go on to claim 4th place. Matthias Bellino has claimed at least 1 podium finish at each Grand Prix this season, and that run continued at Heinola. The Frenchman finished the day very strongly, topping 3 of the last 5 tests to claim 3rd spot. The rocky terrain was what caused Ivan Cervantes' injured ankle the most trouble. The Spaniard knew he couldn't take any risks in either causing further damage to himself, which in turn would damage his hold on the lead of the championship. Therefore, he was delighted to come home in 2nd position. Matthew Phillips is undoubtedly an exciting young talent, and he looks like being a major star of World Enduro for years to come. The Australian was totally in control as he soared to his 3rd consecutive win. Saistola will be disappointed not to have finished higher than 4th, especially having started so well. Biggest smile of the day belongs to Matthew Phillips.
Yeah, the day started well. I wanted to push hard in the first lap and try and make a difference like yesterday, and managed to put in a good first lap without too many mistakes. And yeah, I pushed really hard all day, and the last lap I had enough time just to keep it safe and try and finish.
It's game on as far as the Enduro 3 title is concerned. The Aussie kangaroo, that is Phillips, bouncing toward the Spanish bull Cervantes in top spot. That wraps up the Grand Prix of Finland and round 4 of the Maxxis FIM Enduro World Championship. Hopefully they'll be dried out by the time they hit Sweden for the next round in a few days' time.